The get-right game the Green Bay Packers offense needs has arrived with the Dallas Cowboys.
You are Locked On Packers, your daily Green Bay Packers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Packers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Peter Bukowski, and I cover the Packers for The Leap, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to. Follow me on Twitter, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter, Locked On Packers. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find podcasts, you will find Locked On Packers, the #1 Packers podcast on the internet. And the show for fans who know what happened, they want to know why and how. Thanks to everyone who makes Locked On Packers their first listen every day. We hope you like starting your day with us as much as we like starting our day with you. David Helman on the show today. Locked On Packers welcomes the Athletic Football Show to the proceedings this week. He is new to the Athletic Football Show, used to be a Dallas media member, and in fact, as we will talk about, has been there for some of the biggest moments between these two rivals. And he's not worried about the Packers at all. In fact, he thinks this is going to go pretty well for the Packers on Sunday. Let's get into it. Joining me now from the Athletic Football Show, Dave Helman. Dave, you used to be steeped in this Cowboys world. You have a more 30,000 foot view here, but I still wanted to get your input in the Micah Parsons revenge game here. Where do you see Cowboys fans and Micah Parsons right now? Micah said he thinks he really still loved in Dallas. Do you get that same feeling?
The thing, and Packer fans, you guys can relate to this. I just think the Cowboys fan base is so big that you just can't speak for the entirety of the fan base. Like, there are countless numbers of Cowboy fans that love Micah and feel like he was done dirty and hate what the front office did and will probably cheer for him on Sunday night. And there are just as many Cowboy fans who either they don't even necessarily blindly love the front office. They're just like, if you ain't with us, you're against us. I don't give a damn. And no, you're not a Cowboy anymore. I'm booing you. I don't care. And so I think there's just a boatload of both of those groups of people. I'll be interested to see the reaction. I don't think he's going to get some lovey-dovey standing ovation, but I also don't think he's going to get booed out of the building either. So the Cowboys fan base contains multitudes. I think the vast majority of Cowboy fans would prefer that he's still on their team, but there are still plenty of them that are just he couldn't stop the run. He didn't help us in the playoffs. Good riddance. I mean, people can talk themselves into anything.
I think if I can speak for the entirety of Cowboys Nation for a moment, I do think they probably all agree that the Packers were pretty high up on the list of teams under no circumstances should you have traded Micah Parsons to.
Dude, it's funny. I covered the Cowboys through most of the 2010s. So I was there for all three of the big playoff losses. And outside of the division rivals, Cowboy fans hate the Packers, dude. And it's not even like a rivalry hatred. It's the team you can't beat. It's the team that has your number. And Cowboy fans of a certain age, I would even, the Commanders are just now getting good and relevant for the first time in 30 years. The Giants have obviously been bad for a decade. Cowboy fans of a certain age hate the Packers more than anybody but Philadelphia. I've got friends in Dallas who are just why did it have to be the Packers? It's a total boogeyman sort of situation. That is very real.
Well, and what's so weird about that too is for me growing up, the Cowboys were the team the Packers couldn't beat. It was every year. And for whatever reason, the schedule makers, my first conspiracy theory probably as a child was why do the Packers have to go to Dallas every year? They didn't play at Lambeau Field until I was 12 years old. It was just one of those things. And you could, even when the Packers won the Super Bowl, they got whooped by Dallas in Dallas. So it's funny how these things can flip.
Every Thanksgiving when he coached the team, we got to relive Jason Garrett's win against Green Bay when he had to step in for Troy Aikman. And like there was a period of time where, it was completely flipped, obviously, where like the Packers couldn't do anything against Dallas, but it's been the other way for, man, probably like 15 years at this point. Cause even like, the Packers were the team that got Wade Phillips fired.
That's right.
And then obviously all of the playoff games. So it's been a minute now where, like the Packers have loomed large for the Cowboys.
You said 15 years, and that seemed like too many, but we're old now, and so that's like 2010 was 15 years ago.
It has a way of happening. It's really unfortunate.
Dang, now I need a minute, Dave. Hold on. So where are you on Jordan Love?
I love Jordan Love. I don't. It's funny, like I know, look, the NFL is king and we all watch it. We're all obsessed with it. It drives all the ratings and all of the anything in the sports content world is going to be NFL based. And like, we've got to have takes about everything.
Yeah.
And we're seeing this right now. We're seeing it with CJ Stroud too, where obviously the Texans are a disaster. He hasn't played his best, but obviously the ecosystem in Houston is a mess as well. Yeah. And like, we're getting all this pushback where it's like, oh, y'all tried to sell me on CJ Stroud being like this great quarterback. And I'm like, nope, I still think he is. Like, go watch the Rams game at the beginning of the year and tell me that he wasn't playing great football in a bad situation against a good team. And we're kind of doing it with Jordan Love too, where it was a grind against one of the best defenses in the NFL, and the interception was ugly. I had a good back and forth with Derek Klassen, my co-host on the Athletic Football Show, where we were watching it, and he was like, actually, that's a really great play by Grant Delpit. And I was like, Derek, come on, dude. Like that's a bad pick. And then I watched it back a couple more times and I was like, okay, that is a really good play by Grant Delpit. You're right. Still not a throw.
No, we're not allowed to say that, Dave. It's got to be the worst decision I've ever seen. I mean, and Jordan Love sucks now. And I'm sorry. That's just the way it works.
It's a bad decision, but it's also a great play by the safety. Like both of those things can be true. And so hot take here, but I'm okay at week 4 just being like, I don't think I really need to change my opinion about these guys just yet. Like, I'm A-okay with the first 3 weeks that Jordan Love has had. We were talking about this before we went on. Like, from the macro, as somebody who is not invested in the Green Bay Packers, I'm just like, crazy shit happens in this league when you don't put your opponent away, and that'll happen to you. It doesn't really affect my opinion of the Green Bay Packers that much. Like, I still think they're a really good team. They shouldn't have lost that game, but life goes on. And I know that's not a take you can have in the wake of such a surprising loss. We're not going to clip that
and put it on social media.
Yeah, that's no good for views, but that's how I feel.
Dan Orlovsky put it in a way that I thought was really smart. He said, it was a great play, but Jordan Love just can't be on the other end of that. Like, those are the plays.
That's totally fair. That's totally fair.
And he compared it to, I thought this was interesting, the 2 years ago, the first game of the season. Remember when Josh Allen threw that really bad interception at the end of the Jets game that ultimately cost them that game? It's like Josh Allen was Josh Allen then. Like, he was incredible that season. I thought he should have been the MVP that season. And even he made that sort of mistake. And I think sometimes we forget he's had 2 years as the starter, Jordan Love. And so he's still, like, what Dan said is he needs to grow up. And I thought that, if you want to be QB6, right? You guys did that whole show on who is QB6. If he wants to be QB6, you just can't. You have to feel that guy. Whatever preternatural ability you need to have, he's got to have it in that moment. And he didn't. And we can say that. That's okay.
The fun thing with Jordan too is like, clear, like he has such faith in his ability, and why wouldn't you? Like, some of the throws he's capable of making, like, what was it? I guess it was week 1 against Detroit. Like, the throw he made down the seam to Tucker Kraft for the touchdown. And like, he does that all the time. And it's like, well, when you can make throws like that, I understand why you have the utmost faith in your ability. And it is very similar to Josh Allen, where it's a tough tightrope to walk, where you're like, I'm capable of doing some crazy stuff that not very many people can do, but it can get you in trouble. And like, trying to be responsible while still not taking that part of your game away. Like I don't envy the guys that have to figure it out, but clearly you can, because Josh has done a masterful job of cutting down on the boneheaded plays. So I absolutely think Jordan Love can as well. Like I got to see a hell of a lot more before I'm worried about Jordan Love.
For those just on audio, he did the
I did the air quotes.
Yeah.
It
is interesting that they were the most downfield throwing team the first 2 weeks and then could not get the ball down the field at all. And that's also going to affect your quarterback, right? Like when you can't be who you want to be, you can press a little bit, and that stinks. And that I if I were a Cowboys fan, I would be worried this week about Dak Prescott in that way too. Without CeeDee Lamb, like, is he just going to try and rip 15 seam balls down the middle? Because like Jordan Love, he trusts his arm, he trusts his brain to know where these throws can be, and he will just keep ripping those balls.
I think, honestly, Dak is in a spot where as long as CeeDee's out of the lineup, I don't know that Dak has a choice. I mean, I know that their run game has been really good through the first few weeks, but it's not so overpowering that you can just lean on that, especially now Tyler Booker is out, Cooper Beebe is out, so your offensive line's compromised. I said it during the Bears game when CeeDee went out, and I've actually been pleasantly surprised that it hasn't happened. But I was sitting there and I was like, okay, great. So Dak's just going to have to try to throw them into this game. And he's probably going to throw a pick or two, because that's what happens when you're in that situation. And I'm going to have to deal with a whole bunch of discourse about how bad Dak Prescott is at his job. And that hasn't really happened this week. I think most people like kind of recognize the situation that he was in. So that was a pleasant surprise. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. I'm not going to say that they're one dimensional, but
no,
this offense is supposed to be a lot more wide open and explosive. And when you swap out CeeDee Lamb and it's just George Pickens and Jalen Tolbert and Kevontae Turpin, I don't think it's going to look as easy for Dak as it did the first couple weeks. Because maybe easy is a stretch, but like the explosive plays were there for him against even Philadelphia.
He's looked like Dak Prescott again, right?
Yeah,
like he's looked like the guy that that was almost the MVP 2 years ago.
He's looked really, really good. I think Green Bay is going to make it incredibly tough on him without CeeDee.
More with Dave Helman next on Locked On Packers. This episode is brought to you by Square. Your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square. There are certain businesses that truly make the neighborhood feel like home. Whether it's the local sports bar packed on game days, the coffee shop that knows your order by heart, or the corner deli that's been serving your community for decades, these are the places that bring people together. When neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. For example, you want to go to a Green Bay Rockers game? Guess what powers what you're getting at those games? Square. These local spots rely on Square. Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You go to square.com/go/LockedOnNFL to learn more. But before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did. Square, see you in the neighborhood. Today's episode brought to you by DoorDash. It's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP. Who delivered? Powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. This week, I'm going to go with Lucas Van Ness. He delivered in a big way, led the team in pressures against the Cleveland Browns. When the pressure was on, it was probably from Van Ness. He came through, no hesitation, no delay. And if you've been watching week after week, this performance is not a fluke. LVN has been on a streak. This has been his breakout season so far. And just like Van Ness delivered for the Packers, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you save every Saturday you order. Stack it up all season and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18th. I mean, that front against any offensive line is a problem for the Packers. Like their ability to create pressure, to scheme up stuff. I mean, Jeff Hafley has been deep in his bag and has loved doing all the things with Micah Parsons that the Cowboys did as well. I mean, all the weird alignments and, double mug A gap stuff like that's there for the Packers. And they probably have better players than Micah has ever played alongside. Really, like that's what's crazy about this is probably the most talented front he's ever played on.
I remember Derek and I recapped the Commanders game. Shameless plug. We recap every primetime game on the Athletic Football Show. So if you ever want to talk some ball late on a Monday or Thursday night, come find us. But after the Commanders game, we were talking and I was like, go rewatch Rashawn Gary in this freaking game. Like Rashawn Gary has got to be the happiest man in the state of Wisconsin because he's so good at his job and like nobody can afford to pay any attention to him because of Micah Parsons. And it's not a surprise that I think I read from Next Gen that the Gary and Parsons have the second most combined pressures of any edge duo in the NFL, which should not surprise us.
No, and Rashawn Gary leads the NFL in sacks right now. Like he's on pace to shatter the sack record right now. Like, of course, silly to do the pace.
It's not game, but it's not hard when you're only getting doubled once or twice a week.
Yeah.
Okay. It's still hard. I don't want to take credit away from Rashawn, but like it's a hell of a lot better than what he's used to.
Well, and what's really, I think, a credit to Jeff Hafley is, all those charts where they have the like double team rate with the win rate, on the different XY axes. Lucas Van Ness, Rashawn Gary, and Micah Parsons are all like way forward on they get double teamed rate. And it's because Jeff Hafley schemes up. It's sort of like the old sacrificial X thing. Like he'll say, okay, we're going to design it. So you have to double one of these guys. And sometimes it's Lucas Van Ness, sometimes it's Rashawn Gary, sometimes it's Micah Parsons. And that creates one-on-ones for everybody else. The Packers, the only team in the NFL with 4 guys that have double-digit pressures already. Like it's just, they're able to get everyone feasting. And I think, the Cowboys, the Bengals, it doesn't matter. Like it's a problem for every offense they face. If it's a problem for the Lions, which it was in week 1, it's going to be a problem for everybody.
I mean, it's gross because Micah's one of those guys. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I just know from covering the Cowboys, like Micah gets pressure no matter how often you double team him. Like you have to double team him, but it doesn't, like a lot of times we think of it like, okay, we'll double him and take him out of the play. And then we'll just have to worry about everything else. It's like, no, that is not the case with Micah Parsons. So that's such a cheat code to have like a guy that, like the guy that takes the attention can still impact the play. I mean, I'm sure Jeff Hafley's game planning meetings have to be delightful.
He seems to be having a great fun. And I think he, unfortunately for Packer fans, and they know this, I think he's going to be a head coach sooner than later. He is. So if you've never listened to a Jeff Hafley press conference, Dave, go do it. He is magnetic as a personality. He is so engaging. And you can sort of tell why his players buy in the way that they do, because aside from him being really fun to the scheme being fun to play for, he must just be fun to be coached by. Cause you can just tell when he talks, you're just like, oh yeah, this guy gets it. He's not full of it. Like sometimes you hear coaches talk and they feel engaging and you're just sort of like, yeah, this guy's kind of full of shit. But it's not that at all.
That is fair. And when you get in a room with one of those guys, you can tell pretty quickly if you've like done this enough time to be around enough coach speak where like, when a guy, and like, not to say Jeff Hafley or anybody else, like no coach is getting up there and giving away trade secrets on a regular basis, but but there's still just a way you can be and a way you can deliver things where it stands out in an ocean of platitudes.
Yeah. Well, and it is, Matt LaFleur loves a platitude. I mean, I think he's a really good coach, but as a press conference guy, he's one of those football guys. He believes the football platitudes, though. He doesn't give the platitudes to like obviate the real point. He's just like, no, pad level fundamentals. Like he's an old school, even though he's like the young, handsome guy, he's 65 as a football coach. Like that's just who he is.
I find Matt LaFleur very intriguing, and I very much respect him as a coach. Very rarely do I find him to be like an interesting quote, like the quote that he had about wanting to vomit when people bring up wide receiver one. That was good, and it was like I was like, man, he really must hate it because that's the most interesting thing I can remember him saying.
Is this the week for Matthew Golden with this defense? Just the way that they've been. I mean, they're last or second last in like every metric. It's been a complete disaster. The Bears game was a complete disaster. Like what's going on defensively?
Brother, it's rough. It's rough. And like, I mean, here's the thing though. Like, one thing I know about the Cowboys is like they're gonna find a way. They're gonna find a way to surprise you. You know, like they lose a game like they lost to the Bears, and I think everybody in Dallas is kind of like, oh my God, like the Packers are gonna score 60, and it's gonna be disgusting.
And they maybe remember the playoff game where they almost scored 50.
Sure, yeah, but the Cowboys know how to subvert expectations. So, like, I won't be surprised if they play better than people are giving them credit for. But I also I don't think that they have the guns for this sort of fight. And, like, you know, Deron Bland, it sounds like he'll be back, which could make a difference. But, like, Trayvon Diggs is A, dealing with an injury, and B, because of that injury, he just doesn't look right now. Like, no, he does not look like the guy that got those all pros and all of those interceptions. He looks slowed down and unconfident. And the Cowboys also just don't look like they know how to run Matt Eberflus's defense, which is wild because it's just like, it's pretty basic zone stuff. Yeah. Like they don't run man. They run like variants of cover 2 and cover 3 almost exclusively. Like it seems about as basic as you could expect NFL defense to be. So the idea that they can't master it is wild to me, but
it's not great.
I mean, you go look at some of Caleb Williams' throws on Sunday and it's just like, I mean,
guys, like you can excuse like the flea flicker and stuff, like that's a trick play. So whatever, but there's not a Cowboy defender on the screen on a play like that.
Their cornerbacks aren't up to snuff and their safeties look lost on a regular basis. And like,
that's a bad combo?
Yeah. Can they fix it well enough to be better than they were against the Bears, which is like objectively as bad as possible to play in the NFL? Yeah. Can they fix it well enough to keep the Packers from scoring in the 30s? I don't think so. Especially, you know, maybe if that guy in number 1 still played in Dallas, we could have this conversation. Yeah. But the pass rush hasn't been getting home. There's very little in the way of bright spots with the Cowboys defense. Like you can kind of squint and be like, all right, well, Donovan Ezeraku, the second round pick, is like, he looks a little bit better every week. And they got some entertaining young players, but as far as like being optimistic that the defense can be passable, I don't see it. And so, yeah, I mean, you bring up the playoff game. Granted, it's a whole different coaching staff. I was thinking about that during the Commanders game too. I was just like, man, LaFleur just has Dan Quinn's number, doesn't he? Like, no wonder the playoff game looked the way it did. Yep. So it's obviously a different scheme and a different coaching staff, but
it's a coaching staff that this coaching staff knows. Like Matt Eberflus was just in Chicago.
It is easy to imagine just some wide open Packers players on Sunday night. Like I'd be, the play Kraft had against the Commanders where it's just like, how was he that wide open and how did he get that many yards down the field before somebody got to him? Like I could imagine having that conversation again on Sunday.
Yeah. Still more to come with Dave Helman on Locked On Packers. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride with more IIHS Top Safety Pick awards than anyone else. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings this same intention to how they craft every model. You can feel the Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to every Napa leather upholstery in these cars. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but, from smooth handling to intuitive controls. Like all players in the NFL, Mazda sweats every detail. Because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. Yeah, I don't know that the Cowboys have the linebackers for the Tucker Kraft assignment this week. And I have been making the comparison to 2022, Dave, when Christian Watson scored 3 touchdowns against the Cowboys in that fourth quarter.
I was at Lambeau for that one too, man. I forgot about that one. Like even like a super disappointing Packers team still had the Cowboys number. And yeah, that one was frustrating for Cowboy fans for sure.
Well, that could be Matthew Golden on Sunday. And I think he will get along when he's been so close, man. Like two he is fingernails away from 2 90-yard touchdowns. And then almost had that 4th down one against the Commanders. Love got to him late on that, so he didn't really have room to make that throw when he did. But he's close.
Like I said, I think I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys just play a little bit better, because that's typically what they do when their backs are against the wall. But this could be a get right game for Josh Jacobs too. Teams have, he hasn't quite popped yet. And understandably so, with the amount of attention that's been paid to him and the injuries on the Packers offensive line. But I could see this being a nice game for him. Like, I mean, even if the Cowboys play better, I fully expect the Packers to score, to 27 plus points and, getting a lot of guys involved. I mean, I'd be pretty surprised by anything short of that.
Well, I think in some ways that there is pressure on them to do that, because after what happened last week, this is a Super Bowl team. Like they are not used. This group of Green Bay Packers are not used to going into a road game as touchdown favorites against a real football team, and the Cowboys are a real football team. So, it's a learning experience for them too, and that's something that every young team has. Aaron Rodgers even was like, in 2020, 2021, he's like, every team has to learn how to win again every year. You kind of have to do it as a group. This team is going through that right now.
It's funny though, and like this is what we talked about off the jump too. Like, look, the Packers were 8-point favorites. The Browns, I don't think, are going anywhere meaningful this year. They should have won that game. I'm certainly not letting them off the hook, but like the idea that it reminds me of college football, and I feel like people kind of talk about the Browns as if it's, having Western Michigan come into the horseshoe and beat Ohio State. Like, this is not that. The Browns defense looks insane. Yeah. They almost beat the Bengals when Joe Burrow was healthy.
They should have beat the Bengals.
I know the final score was 41-17, but like, go watch them against Baltimore. They gave the Ravens fits. Like, the Ravens could not run the ball. Lamar the stats look really good, but the Browns defense played well against Baltimore. Yeah. So
for 3 quarters, that was a football game.
The idea that this is some like monumental just loss that should have the Packers shaken to their core, like they should have won. And they, maybe there were a few too many quotes about going undefeated floating around Green Bay. Like, yeah, maybe it got to him a little bit.
Matt LaFleur, speaking of Matt LaFleur quotes, he hated that, and he said so on the record. Like, I hated that. So.
Good. Honestly, I mean, week 2 is far too early to be saying stuff like that, no matter how good you look. But I don't really care that they lost that game. Like, they're a really good team, and if it's a learning experience for them, all the better. Now, like, I mean, if they lose this game, then I'm willing to say, like, what the hell are we doing, Packers? Yeah. Like, they should not lose this game.
They will be on your WTF segment on Sunday if they lose this game. I guess Sunday night might be too late to make the segment.
They probably won't be. No, but what'll happen, they won't be on WTF, but if they lose, we will preempt whatever we had planned for the top of the show and be like, was anybody expecting this? Did anybody have Cowboys outright winners on their bingo card? Because it was not me.
Marcus Mosher and Landon McCool, our pals over at Locked On Cowboys, said this would be the biggest Cowboys upset in 20 years if they were able to win, which is something to say.
I'd have to think about that. I mean, like, just
it made me mad that they said that, because I was like, that is true. Like, it seems anecdotally, it seems true to me that, or at least that it could be true.
I can think of a couple of games. I mean, I'm just being pedantic here. I can think of a couple of games. Like, there have been games where like Dak was hurt and a backup was going against somebody. Like,
I guess you could, any of the Cooper Rush games that first year. Didn't they beat the Texans with CJ Stroud 2 years ago with Cooper Rush? Am I misremembering that?
I think Dak was there for that. No, wait, I got one for you. Hang on, I got to pull it up though. I'm doing this live. In 2020, the Garrett Gilbert Cowboys, like, a month or so after Dak got hurt.
I know what you're going to say.
They went against the 8-0 Pittsburgh Steelers, who, like, everybody thought the Steelers were fraudulent anyway, but like they were 8-0 and they still had Roethlisberger. Like, they were a solid team. The Cowboys almost beat them, and they lost 24-19. And if they had won that game, it would have just absolutely blown my mind. But that's the type of thing I'm talking about, where all week going into the game, you're just like, it'll be a miracle if the Cowboys keep this within 24, and they've got a chance to win it in the fourth quarter. Like, crazier things have happened. Like, I won't be surprised at all if this is a game going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
either.
I wouldn't put money on that, but I wouldn't be surprised by it.
All right. Well, Dave, how dare you come on here and be so rational about all of this? No, I really appreciate the time, and people should go listen. I'm sure there is a huge section of crossover listeners between what we do and what you guys do. So I appreciate it.
Anytime, brother. This was fun. Enjoyed it. Packer fans, I think it's going to be okay. I just want to say that one more time.
Thanks to Dave for joining the show. Awesome to talk with him. Those guys do a great job covering the whole league. You should still listen to Locked On NFL. Our guys do a great job covering the whole league as well. There's room for everybody. Plenty of room in your day. Plenty of room in your commute. So we have our squad show that should be in your feed right now. We did it a day late. No dollar short, but a day late. For scheduling reasons. And then after Sunday Night Football, it's going to be me here on Locked On Packers, and then the squad show for another 60 minutes after that, live on YouTube. Go subscribe on YouTube so you can always hang out with us live after the game. Subscribe on your podcast feed so all those shows can just be on your phone or your tablet or wherever you listen whenever you need them, so you can stay locked on Packers.